Hello, I'm Herb, and this is Pulp Herb Reads Things. This is also the very first episode of Pulp Herb Reads Things. Hopefully it will be the first of many, and I hope you'll be joining me for all of them. Since it's August 1st, I decided to kick off the channel by talking about my plans for Garb August, which is an annual event created 4 years ago by Ollie of the channel Criminology, Ollie, for booktubers and their followers to read trashy books, as he calls them. What's a trashy book? Well, a trashy book is a book whose principal, if not sole value, is as entertainment. So think Jackie Collins for the easiest example, although I may be dating myself a bit with that. Books torn from the headlines, celebrity memoirs, especially if nobody remembers why that person was a celebrity, exploitation novels, that kind of thing. And I've always thought it was fun. The first year I did get a couple of books. I read a Gore novel, a Sharon Green novel, which was from one of her series that was kind of a response to Gore, and Rona Joffrey's Mazes and Monsters. I think those should give you a feel of what we're talking about. So beyond just trashy books, there is usually some guidance. There is a group read this year. There are actually two, and I'll put those down in the description box. There are themed weeks. The first week, which actually runs through the 10th to take care of the 3 extra days of the month, is Anything Goes. The second week is Shock Value. We should have gone with shock treatment, but I'm not a host, so what can I say? The third week is Cozy Trash, and the fourth week is Apocalyptic Trash, which of the four, I'm probably looking forward to most, although I haven't decided what I'm going to read. I do know what I'm going to read for the first week, and that is two novels. The Tower by Richard Martin Stern and The Glass Inferno by Thomas N. Scorcia and Frank M. Robertson. The reason I picked these two books is back in June I was visiting my mother, and The Towering Inferno came up as a free movie on YouTube. I remember her and my father going to see it on a date night when it first came out, and she did, and she was like, let's watch that. So we did. And it is a classic Irwin Allen disaster movie, very cheesy, and it is based on these two novels, The Tower and The Glass Inferno. What's very interesting is how he wound up making a movie based on two novels. The Tower had not yet been published, but was the subject of a bidding war between several studios. Warner Brothers got it for $350,000, which is $2.5 million in today's money. This was 1973 after all. And not long after, the pre-publication movie rights for The Glass Inferno came up. Fox, who had lost on The Tower, decided to spend $400,000, or $2.9 million in today's money, to obtain it, with an eye towards Irwin Allen, who was a producer at Fox at the time, making it. He had been successful the same year these bidding wars went on with the Poseidon Adventure, and they thought this would be a perfect follow-up for him. He agreed, but based on a couple of times in the 60s where he'd seen pictures on the same topic come out the same year, he was afraid the two films would cannibalize each other, and actually arranged a deal where Warner and Fox co-produced the movie. Fox handled the actual making of the movie, because that's where Allen was, and they split the different distribution rights in different ways. One got U.S. rights, one got worldwide, one got TV, that kind of thing. And they made The Towering Inferno, very long movie, classic 70s disaster movie, trash, given this Garb August. Not as good as The Poseidon Adventure. Allen made 4 films like that in the 70s, and I would say the quality decreased each time. But I decided to read those for the kickoff of Garb August. I think they're a good choice. The Tower is available on Kindle, and I went ahead and purchased it there, but I was not able to find an ebook version of the Glass Inferno, so I ordered one online. Now, I don't have the dust jacket for it, and obviously I don't have the cover, so I'll put them up here in the corner. What's interesting is I did find an image for that of the movie tie-in edition of The Tower, which the bingo card, one of the bingo spaces, is movie tie-ins, and I was thinking they weren't going to qualify because the movie was based on them. They weren't made for that. But since I have a cover copy that says, now made as The Towering Inferno, I think I do get to cross off that bingo space. The other book I am sure I'm going to read, and it doesn't fit any of the theme weeks or necessarily the bingo card, is actually related to Garb August. Last year, Criminale presented Garbology, which I have a copy of right here. I hate to tell you, it went out in print intentionally yesterday, but it is 34 thrilling news stories inspired by Garb August, the annual reading event created by Criminale that's become a BookTube sensation. Demonic lovers, terrifying tots, murderous critters, rampaging cryptids, sausage shenanigans, doom soldiers, remorseless criminals, and horrifying technology. And the reason I'm actually reading this is an ongoing reading project I'm on called Bradbury Reading, which I'm not going to go into too much detail because I actually want to make a whole video on it and why I think people should take it up beyond just the people it was originally suggested for. But cut to the barest bones, it is for 1,000 days, read a poem, a story, and an essay every day. I started this back before COVID, and now I haven't made every day. In fact, there have been gaps of several days. But I try to keep on this, and I thought for Garb August, Garbology, the anthology, was the perfect book. It has 3 more stories I need, so I'll double up on the weekends or something to fulfill that part. I have not found a collection of trashy essays. I have a couple leads, but I didn't chase anything down beforehand. And unless I want to read Charles Bukowski, I can't think of trashy poetry, and I'm not even sure that qualifies. But at least we've got the stories covered. For the rest of the month, I don't know what I'm going to read. For one, it's kind of funny that I'm trying to be a booktuber because I am one of the slowest readers I know. So, you know, most booktubers talk about reading a book or 2 a week or more. A book a month is probably my typical pace. Although, if you're reading a short story every day, 30 times 6,000, that's 1 or 2 extra novels right there. So maybe I'm not as slow as I thought. But I have a couple of different ideas. One, as I said, Irwin Allen made 4 theatrical disaster movies. They are all based on one or more books. The Towering Inferno is based on The Tower, and the Glass Infernos we've covered. The Poseidon Adventure is based on a book of the same name, which is available on Kindle. The Swarm is based on The Swarm, which is not available on Kindle. I haven't tracked down a copy yet, but I may try, or I may save it for next year. And then When Time Ran Out, which, not obvious from the title, unlike the other 3 what it is a book about a catastrophic volcanic explosion that was an actual historical event. You know, that big number of characters trying to survive it, based on a book of the same name, which is available on Kindle. So I may go down that path. But doing some research for another BookTube project, which I learned about on Criminale's Discord, I may change it up. The other project is called Your Novel Life, and the idea is to select 1 novel printed in each year you've been alive, never repeat an author, and read them in order, not necessarily sequentially. You don't have to start with your birth year, your first year, your second year, before you read anything else, because at my age that's going to be a lot of books I'd have to go through first. But you want to keep track of it. And just for fun, the other night I looked up what was published my birth year, and Valley of the Dolls was published in 1966. And I think that qualifies as a trashy book. I don't know if it fits any of the other 3 categories after anything goes. Maybe if I'm really quick I can get to it this week. Maybe shock value. Certainly in 1966 it had shock value, but I'm not sure about today. So those are the 2 ideas that I have for the rest of the month. I hope you've enjoyed learning about both Garb August and my plans. If you haven't heard of Garb August, and if you have, just learning about my plans. I hope you will come back. My plans in the future are a weekly or bi-weekly, I haven't decided yet, video covering what I've read, focusing on the Bradbury reading. So going through what short stories I've read since the last one, why I chose those short stories, and so on. The other things I've planned is I want to talk about what Bradbury reading is, of course, and I want to talk about what is the best book I've read this decade. To give you a hint, it's called Zafil by M.C.A. Hogarth. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. It's actually a novel in 2 volumes. The volumes have different subtitles. But I'll be back next week with what I've read in short stories and explain why I do Bradbury reading. So thank you for your time. It's my first video, but I guess it's not too early to do the like and subscribe bit. Because it's a new channel, you're not going to get recommended this. I don't know how you got it in the first place. But thank you for your attention, and have a good evening. Bye.